I'm using the theta-client library from RICOH to talk to a RICOH THETA X using Flutter. I'm doing development on a Windows 11 workstation. On Windows 11, I was able to build the theta-client library, which is a Kotlin multi-platform plugin, then use the plugin within a Flutter application. I started off with the demo-flutter sample application that came with the library. This was all done on Windows 11 using VS Code. I also tested the Flutter application in addition to the Android emulator on a physical device, Samsung Galaxy A8, running the newest version of Android available for the Samsung. Both the emulator and the Samsung are running Android 13. The features seem to work great. The live preview works fantastic on the physical device. There's no flickering and no stuttering. This is quite a good experience. I encourage you to check it out. There's two parts to this build. You first have to compile the theta-client library, and then you need to make it accessible as a Flutter plugin. At the beginning of the walkthrough, let's first make sure that our Flutter is installed properly. And I'm running Flutter 3.71. And if I do Flutter Doctor, should be all 100% green check marks. If you have a problem with the Android Studio cannot find the bundled Java version, refer to the previous video. Go to the GitHub repository for the RICOH API, theta-client, and we're going to clone it down with HTTPS here. So it's git clone, name of the repo. It's cloned down. We're first going to build the library, which is step 1. So in here, there's a Gradle W, and I'll publish to Maven local. The build for me succeeded on Windows 11 using Android Studio Electric Eel. We now have the library that is built, but we need to make it accessible to the Flutter demo. So the first step, if you look at the README for the demo-flutter sample application, it's going to say to run this shell script. But the shell script won't work on Windows because this is assuming that you have Bash installed, and it hasn't worked for me. So what we're going to do is inspect the shell script and try to replicate the functionality of the shell script for Windows, and it's pretty simple. Okay, so the script, what it does is it copies this AAR file from the Kotlin multi-platform into the Flutter Android AAR. So let's do that right now. So I'm going to try to use the Windows File Explorer here. So I'm going to go into Kotlin multi-platform, build, outputs, AR. We'll copy these two files, and I'll go up to the Flutter subdirectory here, and I'm going to look for the Android AR, and I'll paste these two files in here. So now I have these two files in. But what I'll do is I'll just select File, Open Folder, and I'll open that specific one for Flutter. Okay, I'll select the folder. So another problem on Windows is that this thing is using this type of directory structure to try to get into the Flutter, the Flutter folder, which is 3 levels above. So what I'm going to do is change it. So I'll just copy the contents of this Flutter folder. Okay, so this is a file, but I'm going to delete it. I'll make a folder under packages, theta_client_ flutter. Okay, so I have a folder under packages, theta_client_ flutter, and then I will copy all this stuff over. Okay, so what I did is I copied the entire contents of the Flutter folder into this folder theta-client flutter, and then I run flutter pub get again, and I didn't get any errors. So let's try to do the build. I already have the Android AVDs installed, so I'll just start one of them. I'll select this Pixel 4a running API 32. So I'm going to connect my Windows workstation here on Wi-Fi. I have a Ethernet connected as well, so I can connect to the internet and this RICOH THETA X running firmware 1.40.1, I think. So first connect my Windows laptop to the RICOH THETA X, and it's looking good. So you can test to see whether the THETA X is connected or not to the Windows machine by just running an OSC info command in the web browser, and it appears to be connected. It's firmware 1.41. So select run here. I'll select run without debugging, and we'll see whether this thing comes up. All right, the application comes up on Windows 11. We'll just check out live preview. Appears to work fantastic to the RICOH THETA X here. And let's try to take a picture. Okay, picture took. It gets over to the mobile app and it's looking good right here. Look at the list files. Okay, very good. So I'll just quickly review a couple of the steps. After the library is built, I put it into this packages folder, packages theta-client_ flutter. And this was the main step here, in that it had a directory system to go up into the Flutter folder. But I just copied the contents of the Flutter folder over into theta-client flutter. And after that, everything was working just great on Windows 11. If you have any questions, feel free to post it in the community.theta360.guide forum.